take that into consideration. People doing the best that they can, right? And that's why I want to take in consideration that it's really important for you within your personal development. I'll say it again, personal, right? Development, it's about you as the individual. It's not about anybody else, person to the left, to the right, right? What family's saying, right? This is about what you got going on. You know what I mean? And that's why I'm realizing that when people focus on themselves, they mind their business, you know what I mean? They level up faster. They get the results they anticipate, right? Because you're locked in, you're channeled into the things that you got going on. And I want to keep it a band with you because, you know, some individuals that come from dysfunctional families, right? There's people that they went left because they made the wrong decisions, but there's also people that had a channel, right? Get their mind right, positive, get themselves fixated on, you know, their journey, right? Their purpose, right? And then they were able to really get things done, right? So I really want us to take it into consideration to have that positive mindset because you're able to get what you want to get done with that positive mindset, right? But struggling often doesn't mean that you're weak, right? It means that there's something deeper going on. We got to understand what's going on, right? But like I said, for those out there that got, you know, a mental illness, they have their own diagnosis and they're trying to push through and they want to be able to get the results they want to get the result they anticipate, right? We have to take in consideration, right? You already know that you have a mental illness, right? You got to take that in consideration, right? There's only so much that you can do. You know what I mean? The medication, some of it adding on weight. So there's different things that you got going on. You're trying to figure out the coping skills that work for you, right? Some of us are going to a day treatment program. Some of us just got out of a, you know, in partial program, you know, just based on your psychosis, whatever the situation had transpired, right? Some of us are trying to get ourselves right? When it comes to recovery, there's different things. Everybody has their own thing that they got going on right now, right? But you have to be able to take in consideration that, you know, good things take what? They take time. Nothing good is just gonna come like, you know what I mean, the snap of a finger, right? So you already have a lot going on. So you gotta be able to take in consideration and just be kind to yourself and gradually things will pick up, right? But listen, right? By keeping yourself taught from the floor up in regards to a negative mindset, right? Believing the stigmas, the stereotypes, and all that, the negative information out there, right? Not doing the things that you got to do for you, right? It's only going to keep you in a deprived situation, right? So we got to be able to build ourselves up, right? Your self-esteem, love yourself, look at yourself in a good view, understand that you're in a tough situation, right? You're doing the best that you can, right? And things will eventually get better, right? But you have to change your mindset. You have to be able to look at things in a different perspective. So I really want us to take that into consideration, right? But when it comes to some psychoeducation, mental health challenges often, you know, energy, focus, motivation, and our emotional regulation. These are our choices, right? These are shifts in how the brain is able to function with the body, right? Telling yourself to try harder ignores what is actually happening internally, what's going on with you, right? So like I said, you could tell yourself to push through, you could push through, but what it leads you to burnout, it leads you to being more deprived because you're not getting the results you anticipate, right? You got to take things into consideration, start